Well, hey everyone, my name is Nathan Jones, and if you're new here, welcome. I like to talk about all things movies, specifically Blu-rays, and today we're going to be doing just that. We're going to be covering the Blu-rays that I've been picking up for the months of September and October. We're in the midst of spooky month, and so there are quite a bit of spooky pickups that I have here to show you and showcase what I've been picking up for the last couple of months, and I'm really excited to share them with you. There's some that I have seen and some I have not, and so yeah, I'm going to be covering it and kind of reasons why I picked them up. But before we jump into my pickups, I would love to know what you picked up during the month and what you've been doing for spooky season. I've been doing a 31 days of Halloween challenge, but I doubled it, so I'm doing 62, which is a little nuts. So I'm going to be jumping into some movies right after I finish this video. Alright, so let's start off with some bangers. I actually already covered this in a complete video. You can check it out in the description as well. But I am going to talking about the Wicker Man 4K from Studio Canal. This is a glorious set. I really love this. I have more of a breakdown in that video, but I watched it and it looks gorgeous. It looks marvelous. I really loved it so much so that I decided to actually pick up the Steelbook from Studio Canal too, because I'm just a fan of that artwork. So pretty much it has the same exact things with it. It has the 4 discs here, but I believe the other one just has a bunch of extra features. So more or less, it's pretty much the same thing, but if you like shelf space, you know, or steelbooks, just depends on what you want to do. But for me, I don't normally double dip or triple dip or whatever, but Wicker Man, it's one of those films that really I love so much that I'm definitely going to be picking up multiple copies if I run across them. Next, we're going to be jumping into A24 to their long form books. They're a little bit larger than these normal Blu-rays. It's right here. Look, Everything Everywhere All at Once. This is the film by Daniels, plural. This is a fantastic film. If you haven't seen this, where have you been? All of last year was talking about this movie, but this is pretty much one of the best movies of recent past, where it actually won Best Picture too, and I'm really excited that it did. But marvelous film. It's got a really great cast of Michelle Yeoh and Jamie Lee Curtis, of course, and just I don't know. It's a special one. It literally has everything you want in it. It has action, romance, science fiction, horror, comedy, and a lot of drama. But at the same time, at the end of the day, a lady's just trying to pay her taxes and get her family together. And that's what's so beautiful about this movie. I cannot wait to pop this 4K in. I've actually seen the 4K of this movie. I actually have the Walmart exclusive with all the, the eyes, the googly eyes. But let's look into this a little bit more and see what this has to offer. If anyone is curious, this is on the A24 website, but it has a pink shell to it. With a really great movie poster there. And it actually comes with some really fun things besides just the 4K. So you can get the 4K or the Blu-ray. I got the 4K, of course, but it has the files that Jamie Lee Curtis's character has here on Michelle Yeoh's character. But it has all of the tax paperwork in here. And yeah, pretty much there's just receipts of all the taxation that is. So it's a really fun prop. That's probably my favorite thing to do with accounting ever, because I hate math and I hate accounting. So yeah, I suppose Everything Everywhere All at Once will definitely have to do that for me. It also comes with a poster, which I actually really enjoy as well. It's quite trippy. It's a little bit big for the screen, but I'm gonna put it up here anyway. Let's see, there we go. That is the way you do it if you want to see the whole thing. That is what it looks like. Quite a bit of things from the film. Like I said, it's a very trippy movie. If you've not seen it, you're in for a treat. It's such a good movie. Go check it out. Everything Everywhere All at Once. I'm really glad that A24 put this out in their special edition, and I hope you get it as well. Next, we're going to move to Arrow, who has had a fantastic year so far when it comes to physical media. They've been blowing it out of the water. This and another company we'll talk about here in a second have been just really astounding me. But the first thing I want to talk about is the big box set that I know a lot of people have already covered, and it is the Psycho box set. The Psycho 4K box set. This has Psycho 1 through 4, so Psycho, Psycho 2, Psycho 3, and Psycho 4 at the beginning, and it has this really cool lenticular kind of slipcase here. Kind of looks like shower curtains there. With all the information on the back of all the special features. And then it has the films themselves, right? And then here is the box. I really love the lushness of this box set. And finally, unlike the Bruce Lee sets, this was very carefully packaged, so I'm very happy to have that be the case. But here are the films itself. It also comes with a nice booklet. It's actually quite sturdy. It smells great because obviously you got the plastic, but you have all of, all the still images and probably different essays and the making of these Psycho films. And so this is probably a celebration of the series itself. But it also comes with a 4 original films, which I actually switched the cover of the first one because I love the first original cover. But there is Psycho right there. It has Psycho 2, which is the Arrow's original artwork. And then you have Psycho 3. And finally, Psycho 4, The Beginning. And so like I said, kind of with the first Psycho, I actually switched this out. The original artwork is much preferred, and I probably will switch out the rest of them as well. But here is the artwork for the new Psycho, if anyone is curious about it. But I love the original one. So I've only actually seen the first Psycho, so this will be really, really awesome to kind of dive into these sequels. And I've actually heard really good things about the sequels too. A lot of people really love the second one, and I'm just excited to kind of delve into this. I probably will delve into this in November, which has more of a noir and a kind of spooky. It feels like it could be a crossover month. That's how I feel with these pictures, so I'm very excited about it. So I'm going to be jumping into this very soon. Next, I'm going to talk about an upgrade from a Blu-ray that I have on my shelf, but it actually is the 4K now, and I'm really excited about it because I really like this film. I know a lot of people might not enjoy this as much as other Mario Bava films, but I'm talking about Blood and Black Lace, which actually has the Italian title here. I'm gonna butcher that if I say that, but let's see if I can do it. Se don per l'assassino. I probably said that incorrectly, but regardless, really great Mario Bava film. I really enjoy it. I really love the artwork on this thing as well. It comes with, the artwork, and it actually has the Italian on it. And then if you take it out here, it actually has a poster right here. I believe it has both sides of it. I don't know if it has the Blood and Black Lace side, but it definitely has the Italian side. And it does, actually. It has this side and then the other side, which I can show you, which is Blood and Black Lace, which I believe I'm going to be putting the Italian one up probably on some kind of wall, of course. And of course there's the 4K itself, which is why everyone is here for this, with some limited extra features here, which I'm really excited about, and has some cards in here, and the 4K itself. It actually has, I think, a Russian, or maybe, no, it's a German, I believe, edition of this. I may be wrong. I don't really speak the language, so if anyone knows, let me know in the comment section. So, and then it also, of course, comes with a booklet, which is nice and thick as well, and just little motifs from the film itself, and action and stuff. It's gonna look very vivid. I mean, Mario Bava films always look really good, so on 4K, I cannot wait to pop this one in. Alright, these next 4 films are actually monthly slates for Second Sight, which I've picked up pretty much everything. I think I have picked up everything that they've put out this year. I'm just a really big fan of Second Sight and what they've been doing. As you can kind of see behind me, there's some Second Sight love right there. But first, I want to talk about May, which came out at the same time that Frontiers came out. So I haven't seen Frontiers, so I can't speak much on it, but it looks great. Let's just look at the cover itself. I really don't know much about this. I believe it is a French film. I could be very wrong here. Yes, it's French. Okay, I got it good. But there's the Blu-ray itself, of course, and it has the cards with it, the postcards that usually, like I said, Frontier or Second Sight usually puts these things together. It also has a really nice booklet, of course, and so nothing too unusual here. But I can't wait to watch this one. I'll watch it very soon enough. But I was able to watch May. May, really great early 2000s film that has some body horror kind of meshed with a really crazy concept. This girl who pretty much was bullied as a kid, has a lazy eye, was never really accepted, and eventually wants to start building this Frankensteinian, creation to pretty much love and adore and be the perfect specimen, because it has all these different pieces of body parts from different people she meets in her life. So it gets a little bit crazy, and as she wants to get these body parts to build onto her crazy creation, it's a wild movie. I may have given away too much, but anyway, if you can't find a friend, make one, more or less. That is the plot of the film. I'm going to be talking about this on my 62 days or 31 days live stream, which I'll have later on, but I'll be talking about this a little bit more. There is the booklet, the postcards, of course, and there is the Blu-ray itself. Good movie. I really enjoyed it. Really creepy. Gonna have to watch it again, probably to give it some more digestive power. This next slate are of one film that I have seen and one I have not. The first one I'm going to talk about is Crimes of the Future. David Cronenberg's new film. I am a big fan of David Cronenberg and have been really kind of looking back at his catalog, and I'm getting more and more curious about the Davids. I guess Cronenberg and Lynch, even though they're different. But I'm just getting more morbidly curious about these kind of things. But I've heard this is a very polarizing film. I heard some people really like it, some people really don't like it that much. Half-baked, as some say. But here is the book itself. Body is Reality, is what it says on the back. It has some pretty crazy motifs with the Blu-ray, I believe, and also the 4K, which I got the 4K edition of. And it also comes with a really thick book right here. Jam-packed, and then of course postcards. So Second Sight is also, just like I said with Arrow, they are continuing to have an insane month, insane year for 2023, and I think they're definitely one of the best labels out there. So we have one more film to talk about from them, and it is a big one, and that film is It Follows. Of course, this movie came out in the early 2010s, or I think like 2013, 2014. I'm a little off on my math, but I really love this movie. I've seen it definitely multiple times. I was very curious to get the 4K and pick it up. I wanted to get this movie, and I'm definitely going to watch it this month. So I'm definitely going to be popping this in as probably my second letter I. But anyway, it has the image at the very beginning where she gets transferred this really scary disease, I suppose. It's moving from person to person through sexual contact, more or less, and it's pretty much going after the people who just had sex, and then it goes down the line. So that's kind of the concept of the film itself. Very creepy. It actually comes with a hardback book, which that is really cool. I mean, these are some special things. Like Drive did this last year, but like this is going to have really special things attached to it with different essays and making of the film. I'm very excited to dive into this. I definitely will be diving into this myself. Of course, it has the postcards, right, with some new artwork. And then it has the 4K and the Blu-ray itself. Great movie, really great horror from the early 2010s, and it also set pace for kind of what the horror genre would kind of turn towards as we move on, into the 2020s. I believe It Follows is one of the most influential movies in the 2010s. All right, so we have a few more boutique labels to cover. The first one is been also doing a stellar year. I've been picking up everything that they've put out. I actually bought the bundle last year. They're halfway through the entire year. But this actually is a label that actually introduced themselves this year, and that's Radiance Films. And I'm talking about their latest slate right here, The Dead Mother and Scream and Scream Again, which I have seen. I've seen this one. I have not seen The Dead Mother. So The Dead Mother, early 90s film. It is a Spanish-speaking film. I'm not super familiar with this movie, so I really don't know much. This is a very blind thing for me, but I'm really curious about it. I really love the cover, even though it kind of reminded me a little bit of The Joker, which, that movie is hit or miss. But regardless, I'm really excited about this. I've heard it's really brutal in places, and so it's going to be a really, really tough watch, I think. And the other film I have is Scream and Scream Again, which is an Amicus film. I've actually seen this movie before. I have it on Kino Lorber, but I'm really curious about the special features that this one has. There's some new things attached to it, and it's really interesting that Radiance decided to go looking into Amicus films. I love that, honestly. I just didn't expect them to do it. But for the month of October, it makes sense. But this one's a fun one. It's starring Vincent Price, Peter Cushing, and Christopher Lee, which are three of the biggest horror icons of all time, and this kind of mediocre movie, but I love the combination of all of them together doing different things. So this is a fun one. Next, we're going to talk about a Warner Archive release. There was a little bit of a sale on Amazon where the little thing called Prime Day that happened not too long ago. I picked up a few titles. The first one I picked up is Seven Brides for Seven Brothers. I don't really know much about this movie. I think, is it a musical? I've always been curious about this movie. I really don't know much about this movie. I've always seen clips from it. I think it's a musical. I know that sounds really weird to buy something like this where you don't really know much about it, but I've always been curious about this movie. So it's a 2-disc special edition, and it's going to be an interesting watch. I'm very curious about this movie. It's definitely very outdated in its concepts, I believe. But I'm curious about this. Has anyone seen this? I'm sure a lot of people have. I'm just one of the few people who haven't. Moving to a really great label that I'm really curious to jump into more of their releases over the years because they've just done stellar work. I'm talking about Blue Underground, and I'm talking about Dead and Buried. So I have the 4K here. I actually just recently watched this. I don't want to talk too much about the plot because there's some twists and turns in it that are just really breathtaking, honestly, to witness and happen, and like make it, make sure you're watching it, and not just hearing about it. I think this is a really great movie that I'm going to be covering more on my live stream, but man, oh man, what a great story. I love this movie, and it might be a new favorite for the October season. So check it out. It's got some special features and some new restorations. It's a fun one. This is a really fun 80s movie. All right, so next we're going to move to Kino Lorber, who just had a really great sale. There's some movies that might be coming a little bit later down the line, but I actually picked this up at my local Blu-ray shop that I pick up physical media at, and I'm talking about this collection from Kino Lorber. I'm going to completely butcher this, so please pardon me for it. Miklos Janexo collection. It has 4K restorations of The Roundup, The Red and the White, The Confrontation, Winter Wind, Red Psalm, and finally Electra My Love, which is, I guess, a pretty hefty 6 films here for a really good price. For the price of around $20 is what I paid for it. But this is considered the greatest Hungarian film director of all time from Bellatar, and that's pretty much what sold me. I remember when this actually was announced, I think last year, and I was actually really curious about this because I remember looking at this image and then being like, I've never heard of any of these films. Found out this is a Hungarian filmmaker, and I think this guy was really influential on Bellatar, who I am a big fan of his films. So I am really curious to watch this and kind of see the inspiration in its own, creative curiosity. That's kind of where this came about, and that's why I'm going to pick up this one. And I got it for a good sale, so good, good price. Next, I'm going to talk about a Region B release that I picked up from BFI, and it is Parte de Campagne, and it is a genre noir film. I'm a big fan of genre noir. I need to actually still pick up the 4K of The Rules of the Game from Criterion. I have the Blu-ray. Love that movie. It's one of the best movies of that last part of the decade. And this is actually considered a lost film. I didn't really know much about this, but I saw a genre noir on it, and I was like, okay, definitely curious about it. It's going to be a fun time. But apparently, finally released in 1946, 10 years after it was shot, it was hailed as one of the greatest unfinished masterpieces. Anyway, and honestly, it looks like a really nice love story, even though it kind of looks creepy. But anyway, I'm really curious about this film, and I cannot wait to check it out. It's going to be a good one, and I think genre noir hasn't really missed. And finally, we're going to be talking about Eureka Entertainment, who's been doing a really great job this year with their releases as well. And they're another Region B, so if you're not in, the States for Region A, then, you might have a hard time unless you have a region-free player. But the first movie I want to talk about is Skyhawk, which is continuing down the martial arts path that they've been putting out, and I've been loving everything martial arts from Arrow, 88 Films, and Eureka. They've been putting out really fun ones. I probably need to watch more than half of them, but I've been having a good time when I am in the mood to watch martial arts, and so Skyhawk is going to be another fun addition from the director of King Boxer, which is a great film. All right, and the last thing I want to talk about, this 4K that I'm really excited about, especially for the upcoming month of November, where usually you watch noirs, and I'm talking about one of the best noirs of all time, the 4K of Touch of Evil. Man, I'm so excited about this. What a great cast. You got Charlton Heston, Janet Leigh, and of course Orson Welles, who this is one of the best Orson Welles films. This might be my favorite performance from Orson Welles, which, not too hard to say. Citizen Kane for a lot of people. But regardless, really excited about this 4K release. I love this noir. And I really love the inside of this. It's orange. I love orange. And I also just love bright, different contrasts. But there it is right there. So actually, it's kind of weirdly, spooky in the black and orange department, getting a little bit close to Halloween. And then here is a really glorious Touch of Evil booklet. I love the kind of minimalistic kind of look here, and it's glossy, and it's got some really good pictures, and this is gonna be so much fun to dive into in November, and I cannot wait to see this restoration. Has anyone seen it yet? I would love to know in the comment section down below. And now we're moving to the standard releases, the 4Ks, the Blu-rays, and even a couple of DVDs that I picked up. But the first one is a movie that I watched not that long ago. I think it was literally last month that I watched this in the theaters, and I'm so excited to talk about it. It is Talk to Me. I get it. Talk about it. Talk to me. Anyway, grab my hand already. But this right here is a really fantastic A24 new horror duo. Actually, this is the debut film for these guys. This duo right here. I'm trying to look at the directors. I couldn't remember their names. It's going to escape me. Danny and Michael Filippo, I think is how you say their name. But regardless, really great twin, directors who came out of the gate and made a really strong horror movie. So it's got this hand, and you got a group of people who grab this, ceramic looking hand, and have discovered that this is actually a passage to the other side and the other world. And so a bunch of kids just get together and party, and then communicate with the dead. That sounds fun, right? That sounds like a good time. Nothing ever bad happens here, right? All right, so next is another 4K, and it's a film that I have not seen before. So it's a classic. It's a cult classic for a lot of people. It's I Know What You Did Last Summer. Great cast: Sarah Michelle Gellar, Freddie Prinze Jr., right? Of course, eventually became husband and wife. But this is about a killer that they hit on the side of the road, and he turned out not to be dead, or was he? And there's a lot of conspiracies, but it's a very 90s movie. If you've never seen this before, it's a romp. It's not a great movie whatsoever, but it's a fun time, and I'm really glad to finally have it on 4K and to have finally seen it and now understand all of the memes. All right, so next is a movie that I adore, and I want to say thank you to my buddy Daniel, Cobweb's channel, talking about a movie very of its name, Cobweb. So once again, thanks Daniel for putting this movie onto my radar. This came out of nowhere. This movie is a really fantastic under-the-radar horror movie. This movie and Talk to Me are probably my favorite two horror movies of the year, so this is a strong recommendation. If you've not heard about Cobweb yet, I don't know how you've been on this this platform for the last couple of weeks. But anyway, Lizzie Kaplan and Anthony Starr, who, we've seen Lizzie Kaplan before, in a lot of things. And then you have Anthony Starr here as Homelander, from The Boys, if you've seen that show. But this is about a movie about a little boy, and who is actually might be the best character in here. This child actor is so good. But his name's Peter in the movie, and he hears knocking on his wall and voices, and his parents are really odd. It turns into a really crazy plot. Trust me when I say this movie is never dull, and there's always something creepy going on in the background, and almost every single second of this movie. Go check out Cobweb. It's fantastic. And next is another 90s cult classic that a lot of people have seen that I have never seen. So we're going to talk about it at the end of the month when we talk about our live stream, talking about The Crow. Brandon Lee, R.I.P. I am sad to say that I have never seen this movie, nor have I seen kind of the tribute to Brandon Lee that this movie gives it. And man, what a really crazy concept of a film that would inspire a lot of things going on in the future, from like the late 90s into the early 2000s. This movie was really influential. I didn't realize how influential it was until I finally have seen it. So I've seen clips from this movie before, but I really hadn't seen it much. So we're going to get more into that, like I said, during the live stream. But I finally watched The Crow, so a lot of people can, about that one. Next is a movie that I got on 4K. I actually just recently rewatched this right as I picked it up, actually, because I wanted to watch it again. It is The Mist on 4K. This is the 4-disc special edition from the studio itself. And this is Stephen King's The Mist, his adaptation. It's got a different ending for a lot of people who've read the book but haven't seen the movie. But the ending in this movie is heartbreaking, and I love it so much though, because it has a lot of weight to what this whole story is about, which is about survival and sticking it out to the end, and really if we can get along even though crazy shit's going on in a mist, right? Can we get along? I don't know. But it is a fantastic horror film from the mid 2000s, and I think it's very much of its time, especially the special effects. But at the same time, it still stands out to be one of the best of the decades. And I talked about this most recently in some of my favorite 2007 movies. So really great movie. Love it. Definitely recommend checking out the 4K. All right, so we're going to talk about a couple DVDs real quick. I'm not going to talk about them too long. First is Darkness Falls. This is a movie I spent like $4 on. I just recently talked about this on the Rad 9's movies that scared me challenge. And man, this movie, I'm going to watch it soon, but I know it doesn't hold up. My friend Daniel also has this on his list as well, which is kind of ironic. I didn't know that. Cheers for that, man. But yeah, Tooth Fairy trying to kill you. It's a crazy concept. And then next, I actually have another classic that I've seen from a long, long time ago. I wish this had a Blu-ray, honestly. I'm talking about Lord of the Rings. It's Ralph Bakski's Lord of the Rings, one of my favorite animated films from growing up, because obviously I grew up with Lord of the Rings, the live-action films, thanks to Peter Jackson. But this is a really cool combination of animation plus that live action, but it's animated in a way. But I really love the kind of dual concepts going on from that, and also just the art direction in this, and it's being one of the first adaptations of the material from the book. It's got to be a really special thing. So I was really happy to pick this one up and rewatch it. It's been a while since I've seen it, so it was really cool seeing all the effects of its time, and kind of the adaptation that you don't really see or think about when you're, looking at Peter Jackson's beloved, readaptations versus the books. So this is somewhere in the middle, and a lot of people just don't talk about it. But yeah, great movie, and I love it. Next is a crazy old man that we know, that is Paul Schrader, his latest film, and that is Master Gardener. This is a movie, I saw Paul Schrader, crazy man, like I just had mentioned, but great director, fantastic director. It's got Joel Edgerton in it, Sigourney Weaver, and Quintessa Swindell. It's a drama, and it's Paul Schrader, so I know it's going to be good writing, it's going to be a fun one, and I've actually heard good things from this, from some people who have seen this movie, so really curious about this one. And last, we're going to end on some shows. I actually have seen all of these shows, but the first one I'm talking about is on HBO. I'm going to keep calling it HBO. So even though it is Max now, but I'm talking about The Last of Us Season 1, and this is an amazing adaptation of the video game. I have never played this before, but I have a lot of friends who speak so highly of the game itself, and then playing the game plus also watching the show. They're like, this is one of the best adaptations that has ever come out. And so I'm really, really excited to check out the 4K and kind of rediscover this as I was watching it, as each week came along. And that's what I love about HBO shows like this, Game of Thrones, and etc. That's an event for me. And so I had to get up the 4K, right? I had to pick that up. And last but certainly not least are two seasons 3 and 4 of Castlevania right here. Castlevania is a show on Netflix. It's a fantastic show, and there's actually a new season out called Castlevania Nocturne, which is a different storyline from these ones. But regardless, this is Alucard, Dracula, all the people that you know and love. If you've played the video games, you know all about these characters, and seeing them come to life. And it's a really brilliant kind of American amalgamation of an anime, I suppose. It's a really great series. I think a lot of people need to check it out. It's definitely for adults. It's definitely does not hold anything back. There's a lot of blood, guts, and sex and all that stuff that you want in a show. But I love this series, and I had to pick it up on Blu-ray and complete it, and I am really liking Castlevania Nocturne so far. But anyway, I want to say thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you can give it a like and comment down below. I want to know what you've been picking up for the month of October, what you've been watching. Be sure to check out my latest challenge and see if you can join in on the fun, and I will see you next time. I'm not jonesing around.